together, maybe some new freshmen, junior college players, they'll really step up and show what they got, and this team will be able to compete at least for a middle range spot in the PSAC.
Well, like the men, they play in a tougher PSAC West as compared to some of the teams in the East. If they were in the East, I really wouldn't be inclined to speak less of them. I would say they'd be above 500 if they were in the East. But as you guys said, and as I said earlier, the junior college talent, to get them acclimated to the system, and I guess all of them really, to get them acclimated to her style of play and what she wants them to do, and for them to be able to carry it out in a game situation is going to be tested early. So it's going to be important for them to be able to get everything going in the preseason. As we all know, whenever a new coach steps in, it takes at least 2 to 3 years to really get your system, your plan implemented into the program that you had just taken over. So it's going to be important for them to hit the ground running in the preseason. That's probably going to be the biggest thing for them as they go into the season.
You both are right. You can't expect too much out of them right now. They're in that transition year. Let's face it, they were kind of bad last year. Now it's time for those, the young kids, those sophomores now, take a hold of their role, build off of that. I think that them being picked to finish 7th is pretty accurate. I thought it would be dead last and 8th, but they could look at that and say, hey, it's us against the world. They could finish anywhere above that. I think the 500 mark is what you're going to look at. They're not going to make the playoffs or anything, but that should be what they have their eyes set on.
All right, here's our final topic of the night. On Saturday, college football saw an undefeated and number 5 ranked Michigan State team blow out 18 ranked Iowa 37-6. What does this tell you about the Big Ten and these two teams? Bill, you can go ahead and take this one.
The biggest thing was how the hell that happened, but I think that helps the Ohio States of the world and obviously the Iowas, who I think they took a big loss about a month ago. But that helps Terrell Pryor. Even though Cam Newton might be running away with the Heisman Trophy, that helps him get back into the race. They just need a couple more big wins, and they're right on their way. Go Bucks!
My take on college football is, these days anyway, as we've seen from the past few weeks, that no one is who they pretend to be in terms of ranking. You see Iowa, just completely hammer Michigan State, and then Nebraska able to beat Missouri, and Missouri was the same team we were talking about last week, possibly making a run for the national title, that beat number 1 Oklahoma, a few weeks ago. Oklahoma was ranked number 1 a few weeks ago. They got knocked off. Missouri got knocked off by Nebraska. So it's like, who's real? Who's a real team? Oregon completely dismantled USC, and that's the team right now that I think is, the true number 1. They just completely dismantled USC. That's right, I said Wiz. They dismantled USC this weekend, so they are deserving of the number 1 spot.
Yeah, I think I'll touch on that in a minute. I'll talk about Iowa first. And Iowa dominated Michigan State, 37-6. I think it was 17-0 early in the second quarter. It was just not even a game at all. And that really told me 2 things. It said that Michigan State's, they're not the number 5 team that they were ranked as, and they're not worthy of being up there in the talks of a possible national championship contender. But it also opens up the race for which Big Ten team's going to go to the Rose Bowl. As Bill said, Ohio State's back in it, Wisconsin's in it. Iowa has a chance now. Michigan State, they're still very much in it. They only have 1 loss. But after a performance like that, you think they're going to have to rebound now and get things going. But the one thing that could be a big factor is if there is some type of tie in the Big Ten, it's going to come down to who's the highest in the BCS. So right now, Wisconsin's the top BCS team, so they would get the top spot. And to touch on just the BCS in general right now, I completely agree with you, Zach. Oregon's definitely the top team right now. They've been dominating teams all year, scoring in the 60s almost every single game they play. Destroyed a USC team who really didn't have anything to lose, and they were, this was like their national championship game. This was their bowl game this season for USC because they were bowl ineligible. And Oregon's definitely the top team. I'm glad that they jumped back over Auburn. Even though Auburn's a fantastic team, Oregon's really getting the style points they need right now, and I think they deserve to be on the top.
When I turned this game on, I just shook my head because I wasn't surprised. It's been the theme of college football for probably, other than last year, the last 3 of the last 4 years. Teams no one wants the number 1 ranking. They get up there, and maybe they keep it for a week or two, and they get blown out of the stadium. We had Alabama lose, we had Oklahoma lose, all the top teams lose.
Like I said last week, it's more of a curse than a luxury to be ranked number 1 in Division 1A football nowadays. Also, as we were talking about, as I would like to say about the original topic, the Big Ten, you never know what you're going to get on a week-to-week basis with that conference. Honestly, the inconsistency from every team, I mean, each team has its highs and lows week in and week out. It's just, you never know what you're going to get. So, I mean, it's an exciting conference to watch, but, I mean, you never know which team's going to show up. So nothing surprises me anymore in that conference or in college football nowadays.
In terms of BCS standings, what's going to happen is someone's going to fall off somewhere. There's going to be a few more, and Alabama's going to end up jumping everybody. And that's what's going to happen.
Completely agree with that. I was thinking that last night. I was watching whenever the BCS rankings came out, flipping between that and the Steelers
There's
games.
no championship in the Big Ten. There is in the SEC, and that's going to play a big role.
That's going to play a huge role. Alabama has a lot of major games left. If they win all their games, win a SEC championship, they're going to be, the top team. They're going to jump right over Boise State, TCU. TCU and Utah play this week. That's going to be a big game for who's up there. But I think either way, if Alabama wins out, they're right in the national championship, probably playing Oregon, which is completely unfair for the teams like TCU and Boise State.
Well, that's where what we've been talking about all show every time we brought up college football. Conference. Everyone knows that the SEC is favored by the media, by the coaches, by everybody. And though it may be unfair, I mean, it is a tougher conference. I believe there's always a team from that conference that's pretty high up in the rankings, if not, 2 or 3. And like you said, if they can, win the SEC, they might be able to leapfrog over every team, that's in front of them.
Okay, let me take a moment to calculate the scores. Just a second. Okay, it looks like, Tim, you're the winner tonight with 26. Bill, you got second, and you have 25. And Zach, I don't know what happened this week, 21.
I don't know. I mean, I thought I put together a solid effort, I thought, but I mean, what can I say?
All right, Tim, you get some FaceTime for the end of the show.
All right. I had FaceTime prepared. I was going to talk about Oakland, how they've been playing lately. They had a dominating performance over Seattle yesterday, won 33-3. They beat Denver last week big. And those are the two things I really wanted to focus on. But as I was sitting here going through the show, one thing that came up in my mind was the BCS rankings. The Big East, they get an automatic qualifier spot. What's a good team in the Big East this year? What West Virginia's at the top? I don't know who's playing good in the Big East. The WAC's definitely more deserving, and so is Mountain West, with Utah and TCU both as good teams. So the BCS is just, it's BS for having the Big East automatic qualifier. Their automatic qualifier should be removed, and teams like TCU, Utah, Boise State should be moved up in there. And that's all I got to say for FaceTime.
Okay, congrats again to you, Tim. I'm Madeline Williams. Thanks for watching Slippery Rock Sports Forum.